Good afternoon, everyone. It is 5:37 on a Sunday afternoon. It is March 2025, March 15th, actually, 2025. So we have our first tornado warning that has been issued for parts of southern Illinois. So went ahead and decided we would go ahead and go live. And that is for Randolph County in southern Illinois. So that does include areas like Sparta and Redbud, and really all the way back. Chester, you're actually not in this warning, but it does include areas just to the north of you. Ruma up towards, say, the Prairie du Rocher area as well is included in that warning. So that's where we are going to start this afternoon. This line of storms extending all the way to the south, out across parts of southeast Missouri. Quite a few in the orange boxes. Those are severe thunderstorm warnings. The red boxes you see blinking there on the screen. I'm going to take the severe thunderstorm warning boxes real quick off, so that you can kind of see where we have tornado warnings currently. So the red boxes on the screen, those are tornado warnings. And again, we do have one currently in place for Randolph County in southern Illinois. So that does include, again, Steelville, Ellis Grove, St. Genevieve, Missouri, also in that Prairie du Rocher, Evansville, Ruma, back up towards Baldwin, the Baldwin Power Plant. And that does extend all the way up to the Perry County line. Something to keep in mind is if you do live further east, say over towards, say, Cutler, you may want to consider, and really it looks like, I would say Cutler, maybe over towards, trying to think of a couple other communities in that area. But I would say Cutler, and then areas to the north of that, right along 154, also along Route 13 there to the north. Consider, if it's going to take you a little while to go into shelter, again, Cutler, Pinckneyville, some of these areas you're not in a warning yet, but that line of storm's just to your west, and it does mean business, all right? So that tornado warning does run for quite some time here. It runs until, looks like 6:15, so we're going to see quite a few warnings, I have a feeling, this afternoon as this moves through. Trying to get everything set up. It's first one of the day. Well, let's go ahead and kind of storm track everything that we've got going on. Let me see if I can get that back up here. So there we go. All right, so tornado warning. There we go. There we can get the box in there. 48 miles per hour on this one. So this is a radar indicated tornado warning, meaning that there's not a confirmed tornado on the ground. But as we go throughout the afternoon hours, I do anticipate that we are going to see quite a few tornado warnings likely be issued here in southern Illinois, in addition to quite a bit of severe thunderstorms as well. We're going to try to push out some push notifications as we can to those that might be joining or maybe have the Nick Housen app. For the meantime, again, this is just to the west still by quite a bit of the Sparta area, but I do want to give a quick check-in there on the Sparta camera, looking back towards the north from that camera. And this one does show the clouds overhead, and we've had some rain and some cooler air around. But again, with the amount of shear in here, it's just not going to take a whole lot for us to start having some pretty major issues as this line. Notice each one of these little kinks that's kind of moving through is likely has the chance of producing a brief spin-up tornado. So that's the main concern here. And again, moving at 48 miles per hour. Go ahead and put a quick storm track on that. We're going to take that to the north and east. And see, at 48 miles per hour, we're going to take it down to about 45. And if we do that, these are some of the communities that you're talking about impacting, all right? So you're talking about Redbud, Marissa, Sparta, Tilden, Steelville, Coulterville's in there, Percy, Pinckneyville at about 6:25. So again, I know the warning right now is issued, and it does run until, I believe, 6:15. These storms this afternoon are going to be moving extremely quick. They are going to be moving extremely fast as they make their way across southern Illinois. So you won't have a whole lot of time to react, but again, it is something we're going to be dealing with at least for the next couple of hours, probably the next 2 to 3 hours as it tracks eastward. So that's what we're dealing with at this point. That's what caused me to go ahead and start this live stream, kind of push things out here shortly. There we go. Sorry about that, guys. I'm going to have to get used to this. I got a new system here. There we go. So there's the timing on the radar that we were just talking about. So Redbud 5:41, Marissa at 5:58, Sparta again 6:02. So here that's still about 20 minutes or so away as that is moving through. I don't think that I see some comments coming through and kind of really concern about this, but you know, at this point, I think we are going to be dealing with some strong straight line winds. That's probably the biggest threat out of this whole thing. But these little kinks, there's a lot of wind shear in here, so we are likely going to see occasionally some brief spin up tornadoes. So those are the tornado. That's the tornado warning currently for Randolph County. I'm going to zoom back out and kind of show you everything else that's going on as well. Let me plot back in the severe thunderstorm warnings. Yeah, and I apologize, guys. I was trying to show you the Sparta camera, and I forgot to switch back over to the radar, but we should have that fixed now, so you should be able to see it. All right, so big line of storms out to our west. There are some, the red boxes, again, are tornado warnings. The orange boxes are severe thunderstorm warnings. We are going to see this line push eastward over the next few hours. And as it does so, again, we are likely going to see strong straight line winds and possibly a few brief spin up tornadoes. Just looking down the line right now through the St. Louis area and then back into southeast Missouri, notice pretty much there's one little gap here closer to Fredericktown, Missouri. But everything else pretty much right now has either a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning on it, okay? We are going to see this line quickly move eastward. We think, I'm going to try to plot in some of these things, but we think that it will likely reach route, say, well, I-57 closer to 7 o'clock is kind of what we're thinking. So it is actually running a little later than if you've been watching me the last couple of days and kind of watching the timing on some of this. I will say that it is running maybe anywhere from 30 to an hour late. However, we are also watching, let me go ahead and see if I can plot this in real fast, because this is one of the things that we've been watching this afternoon, is dew points. So where are we watching the moisture push northward, okay? And across southeast Missouri, when you start seeing this down here in Corning, Arkansas, you see 64-degree dew point, 61 in Malden, you see 61 in Cairo. That's a lot of moisture getting pushed northward, okay? This line here has really not had the chance yet to interact with some of that higher amounts of instability and the higher amounts of moisture available. It's just now starting to get that. So as this moves eastward, I do anticipate we're likely going to see an uptick in the number of storms and probably the severity of the storms as well. Back over to the Paducah radar here, as this is moving eastward. So that's what it looks like from the Paducah radar currently. That's the closest radar to read this line. Again, tornado warning right now in effect for Randolph County. Get ready for folks in western sections of Perry County. You're not under a warning yet, but Sparta over towards Steelville, that's in Randolph County, and then eastward over towards the Pinckneyville area, Cutler. You guys will likely see this round of storms here over the next, I'm going to say it's moving into western Perry County, probably in roughly the next 20 to 30 minutes, okay? Further eastward, it's going to take some time. So this line of storms, again, is going to take some time to move east. We think that right along I-57, it's probably going to be, right now it's 5:45. We'll go ahead and say roughly 7 o'clock when the line of storms gets there. And then east of that, we think it's probably going to be closer to 8, maybe as late as 9 o'clock, say in Harrisburg, eastward to Shawneetown, Carmine, McLeansboro. Really thinking at this point it's probably going to be closer to 8 o'clock before it gets there, okay? I don't know. Again, we do anticipate that this line of storms will continue to have a lot of strength as it's moving eastward. But I can't tell you, asking about, hey, your specific town, I can't really tell you that until these storms are getting closer and closer, just because of the nature of this. Everybody has a threat today of seeing some strong winds and possibly a tornado, but not everybody is going to see that. Everybody's in that threat area, but pinpointing exactly where it's going to happen, there's still a lot of questions there, okay? All right, let's go back into the tornado warning there. I'm going to switch back over to the St. Louis radar, which has a better view of this. There it is. All right. Slide back over to velocity scans and looking for some of that. The other thing I'm going to do, again, the severe thunderstorm warnings kind of overtake sometimes the tornado warning, so I want to make sure that you're able to see the red boxes plotted in here. But what we're looking at is each one of these little areas. There's several of them here. One here, A few more kind of up in here. Each one of those could potentially bring a brief spin up tornado. Okay, so that's the concern. That is what has prompted the warning. It looks like maybe the most pronounced one is probably the one closer to Evansville, Illinois right now. But what you're seeing is strong winds that are coming into this, like this, and then you've got winds behind this kind of wrapping around. That's causing this little area of circulation to develop, okay? So that's what we're keeping an eye on. Again, no confirmed report of a tornado on the ground, but enough rotation there that it did prompt the National Weather Service to go ahead and issue a tornado warning, again, for Randolph County. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go ahead and put the timing back on this. Let's switch back over to reflectivity. Look at that big jump. Look how fast that thing's moving eastward. All right, so we're going to actually take this back out. So these are new times that I'm plotting in here, okay, for where this is heading, right? So this line in particular, now again, there are some storms back behind this as far as going further to the south. But this line right now, this is where it's heading, okay? So notice the communities there in the path. You see New Athens, you see Marissa, Chester, Sparta. Sparta coming in, I said just a minute ago, 602, so update there, maybe 603 or so moving in there. Coulterville, Percy, Pinckneyville coming in about 625 or so. DuQuoin, I think that at least right now the strongest part of the storm may end up staying just to your north, but we'll have to keep an eye on it as it pushes eastward. But expecting this line of storms to be pretty close to DuQuoin, closer to 635. So that's still about, say, 45 minutes or so away. But that's kind of what we're expecting, okay? Slide back over here, kind of look at a couple other things here. See if there's any information coming through or any reports coming through this afternoon. And if you do have reports that you'd like to send along, more than happy. We appreciate those. Of course, you can leave those in the comments and send us pictures, of course, as well. housenweather@gmail.com is actually the email to send over any pictures or anything along those lines. The National Weather Service did actually just push out a new, what we call an MD or a mesoscale discussion, talking about how we do anticipate the threat for severe weather to start going up here over the next couple of hours. Catch up here. Getting some reports of anywhere from about 50 to 60 mile per hour winds with this line. Gosh, we had some winds earlier this afternoon just outside of the storms, didn't we? Quite rare for us to see a high wind warning. First time in over 2 years that we'd actually seen a high wind warning. That's what we had issued this afternoon. All right, so we were talking about the new one, and here's a new tornado warning just plotted in, okay? This is a new tornado warning for Perry County in southern Illinois. That's Cutler. That is, again, back in Randolph County, Sparta, but now it does include Tamaroa and it does include Pinckneyville. We're going to get a great view of this storm here in just a second as this is moving through the area. But that's what we're seeing. So new tornado warning just issued downstream from this for Perry County, northern parts of Perry County. DuQuoin, right now you are not in this tornado warning, okay? Currently, we are, we see Pinckneyville, we see Tamaroa, we see Cutler, all in this warning. But currently, DuQuoin, you are not in it. Kind of go over those safety rules. It's been a while maybe since we've had a lot of severe weather tracking across the area. But going over some of those safety rules here real quick. Of course, interior room or a basement. An interior room, if you don't have a basement, a bathroom, closet, a hallway, someplace that does not have windows. If you do have a basement, it's a great place to take shelter. If you have a storm shelter, of course, that's also a great spot to take shelter. The other thing to consider is if you live in a mobile home or if you live in a trailer, remember, it's not a safe place to ride out storms like this, okay? It gets very dangerous. They are not able to handle the strong winds. Even if they're strapped down, it can break. So we want you to get out of a mobile home. We want you to get out of trailers. We want you to get out of double wides, all of those things, whatever you call them. We want you to get out of those and go find a sturdier shelter to take and ride out this storm. Okay. Strongest part of this storm currently is near the Ellis Grove area, in my opinion. A couple areas here to watch. Yeah, Percy's going to be in this. Cutler, looking here, the Nighthawk coal mine is just north of there, Cutler, just kind of right up in this area. That's going to be currently in this warning as well. And then all the way up to the Swanwick area is also currently in this warning. So again, if you live in this area, if you live in northern Perry County, you live in Randolph County, again, Chester is not in the warning, but Rockwood is not either. I know you guys have been hit hard in the past, but right now, Rockwood is not in this warning. This is for Steelville. This is for Ellis Grove, Sparta, Coulterville, Cutler, Pinckneyville, Tamaroa. Swanwick is also in this warning as well. This is a new tornado warning. Runs until 6:30, so here about another, we'll say 40 minutes or so, as this line quickly moves to the east. See here, let's slide back over. This is a live view currently looking back towards the north from Sparta. So you can just look off to the left side of the screen there and just see that the dark clouds coming in. We're going to get, again, a pretty good view of this here over the next few minutes as this is going to be moving through. Lacey asking about Redbud and Ruma. Redbud and Ruma, you are still under a warning, but the worst of it is past you if you are in Redbud and Ruma, okay? Randy, the worst of it is to your east, okay? You're going to be dealing with some rain and some thunder, but if you've got through the front part of this, then you're good to go. Back over to radar. Go ahead and zoom back out and kind of run down through everything if you're just joining us. I know we got some folks that are just coming on. Like they just plotted in another tornado warning a little further to the north of that. I don't cover Washington County, but and I think that's Clinton County up there. But again, if you've got friends, maybe family in Nashville, Illinois, you may want to reach out to them and let them know that they're under a tornado warning as well. Like to the south here, this is down into Arkansas. That pink color is actually a observed tornado on the ground. So that is, again, just down into Arkansas and getting ready to move into the Boot Hill, Missouri. So this line of storms, I think it's fair to say, does have a history of producing potential tornadoes. We've got another tornado warning there back into southeast Missouri as well. And just outside of Doniphan, it looks like the worst of it. There we go. If I can go ahead and drag this whole line out here. I think this, we're going to say at about 59 miles per hour. All right, so where the line is going, here we go. Here, so this is, if we do it 60 miles per hour, the line of storms. Again, Chester, not under a warning currently, but it would not be surprising to see that. Centralia, coming in about 6:27, so that's still, again, about a half an hour away. Murfreesboro, about 6:30, so about a half an hour away. So this line extends southward. There's Cape Girardeau, if you've got friends, family, maybe kids that go to SEMO. If you're in Cape Girardeau, 6:35. Carbondale, also right around 6:35 as this line of storms, again, will kind of have a, notice the northern part of it's a little bit further out in front of the southern part. A couple other communities in there. Heron, we're going to say estimate right around 6:40. Mount Vernon, similar to that, and Benton also fairly similar to that. Here on the warnings, what they've done with the severe thunderstorm warnings. So right now I've taken off the severe thunderstorm warnings, but I've plotted on all the tornado warnings. Now I've just plotted back on the severe thunderstorm warning. So that does include Perry County in southeast Missouri. Again, I would not be surprised at all to see that extended eastward into southern Randolph County and possibly into northern Jackson County here in just a bit. For those of you I know that are joining further eastward, I was just throwing some times out here. Throw the telestrator back on. Kind of give some times here roughly. We're going to say that line roughly anywhere from 6:30 to 7 o'clock is when the line will get there. Further east, we're going to say this line, the second line on the right, is going to be a little bit later. I'm thinking it's probably going to be somewhere in the range of 7 to 8 o'clock before it reaches, say, I would say Harrisburg to Shawneetown. It's probably going to be closer to 7 or 8 o'clock before it gets to you. Back on that. Back over to see if there were any new reports that came in here. Okay. Looking through here, talking about a lot of persistent areas of rotation, especially here in this northern part. So that's kind of a reminder, folks, if you live in Mount Vernon, you're not under a warning yet, but this storm that's to your west and southwest, be prepared. If it takes you, again, a little while to get someplace, you may want to consider doing that now. This storm to your west has quite a few tornado warnings on it currently, and is heading your way. It's probably going to be there 30, maybe 35 minutes or so before it gets to Mount Vernon. But again, for folks that are just joining us, that's the area right now we're most focused on. Notice there is a new severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued across southeast Missouri, so we continue to see all of this area kind of fill in with the warnings. I think this afternoon, just because of how many different little storms we're going to see, that we are going to see a lot of really big warnings issued, okay? I think we have a real good chance of seeing a ton of really big warnings issued here as this is moving through. Again, if you are just joining us, we have been watching this storm in Randolph County and getting ready to move into northern Perry County that has prompted tornado warnings for those areas for, again, northern Randolph, northern Perry County, and southern Illinois. There it is. Again, the area that we continue to watch. There's a little notch right here that's kind of heading towards the Sparta area. That's going to be one of the spots we watch. Few different things here, a few different tools to keep an eye on this. What I'm going to do right now real quick is switch over to the Sparta camera again. It looks like we've got some real heavy rain getting ready to head into there. One of the things I also should tell you guys, if you're watching on Facebook, and I appreciate it all very much so, but if you are watching on Facebook, and if you're like me, maybe you want to see it on a bigger screen, if you look up meteorologist Nick Hausen on YouTube, you can actually find that stream there as well. So if you're like, I think a lot of folks that may have a Roku or something along those lines, you can actually watch that on your big screen TV through the YouTube app. So just wanted to provide that information as well, so you're not just stuck watching it on your phone. All right, so there's a live view from Sparta, the airport, looking back towards the north. That airport's kind of on the northern side of town, if you're familiar with it. Just kind of across the street from the Buckeyes is where the airport is. So that's the view we were looking at, looking back towards the north there. The thing I'm going to do is go a little bit further to the south. Here we've got another camera I'm going to show real quick too. Show show this one too. A little bit further to the south. Oh, there we go. Just lost that camera, so let me switch back over here. All right, so again, tornado warning continues. Randolph County, this little notch right back in here is one of the concerns. Go back over to velocity. Pull back up that Perryville camera while I've got it, though I'm thinking about it as well. So this is in, actually, it's the Perryville Airport. If you're familiar with this area, it's literally just across the river from Chester, Illinois. So this is the current scene there, just as that line of storms is getting ready to move in. So that would be, again, kind of in the severe thunderstorm warning issued and not in the tornado warning issuance currently. Going back over to radar, the tornado warning, the areas that we're probably most concerned with at this point, a couple of them kind of right up in here. Other ones right down in here. Look how fast that jumps. Gosh, this line is really cooking. Really making very, very fast progress eastward. All right, here we go. Now we're going to switch back over to the Sparta camera, and there it is. That's a live view currently from Sparta, Illinois. Looking as the rain is just pouring down there. So that is the leading edge of this line. We could see anything in there, because if we are going to see leading edge of this, so that area of rotation passed pretty close to this. I'm going to keep an eye off to the right side of the screen here. Notice the camera kind of shaking there in the wind too, so I'm going to continue to keep an eye on this one as it's moving eastward. Planes are still on the runway, so the winds haven't been too strong. All right, I'm going to continue to keep an eye on that one. In the meantime, I'm going to slide back over to radar and show you kind of what we're looking at. So we're going to see another big jump in radar probably. This is, if I had to guess, this area here is probably going to jump all the way almost to the Perry County line. So again, folks, this is Cutler down here, Nighthawk Coals kind of right up in this area, Swanwick a little bit further to the north of that. Desiree, I understand in a trailer and in the tub, the storm line is still probably, if you're going to stay there, I'm going to tell you just right now, this storm line is going to be probably still another 5 to 10 minutes before it actually gets there, okay? This takes it 15 minutes, so, 5, 10, 15 minutes before this line of storms actually gets to you. Again, no confirmed tornado right now, currently just a warning, so that is some good news. We have not had any reports of a tornado with this storm, but several areas of rotation that have prompted the warnings this afternoon. Okay. Like we've got another new warning that just got plotted in here to the south. That is for, slide over here to a different product as well. Making sure my radar is up to date here too. Currently. Seen a lot of reports this afternoon that the sirens in Harrisburg are not working, so that is a concern. It's one of the reasons, folks, that when we start talking about severe weather, that we really encourage you not to just rely on sirens. Sirens are really only meant to be heard outside. So really encourage folks to have multiple ways to receive warnings, okay? Come on, radar. There we go. Want to switch over to the Paducah radar to get another shot there, another scene of that. We do have another tornado warning that was issued. That does for Sedgwickville, and this is in southeast Missouri. So that storm, current progress of that eastward would put it into western Jackson County, western Union County here in just a bit. So let's go ahead and put in a quick storm track on that. I've just been taking this whole line at 60 miles per hour. It is moving pretty quickly. So there you go. So the towns, just trying to give you a time. Again, you're not under a warning in Jackson or Union County, but just trying to give you a time of when this will be crossing the Mississippi River into southern Illinois. Currently, a tornado warning to the west of you in southeast Missouri. So that would be moving into, say, Grand Tower, and it would be moving into Cape Girardeau and East Cape and Murfreesboro, Cobden, Jonesboro, Anna, Carbondale. All, I would say, Grand Tower probably here in about 30 minutes. Carbondale roughly in about 50 minutes. So again, that is that's a tornado warning right now to the west across southeast Missouri. That is pushing also, that storm is pushing towards southern Illinois. Go back to the north here. We've got two different National Weather Service offices. So the storm currently in Randolph County, for example, is actually still to the west and getting ready to move into Perry County, even though we've got a tornado warning for Perry County, northern parts of Perry County in southern Illinois. The storm to the west is the one that has prompted that. It is currently not in any tornado warning. So that's right on the border between the National Weather Service office in St. Louis and the National Weather Service office in Paducah. Okay, that's where the two switch is, right on the Randolph County line. So Jackson County is in the National Weather Service office in Paducah, Perry County is in Paducah, Randolph County is in St. Louis. So that's why sometimes you see some discrepancies between the two offices and the warnings. Back over here quickly to the I was trying to get a couple things going on here. Slide back over to that Sparta camera because it is just coming down. Whew. Heavy, heavy rain coming down. So that's the storms that are moving currently through Sparta. Let's see. Good question there about can the high from Cass coming in change course very last minute? You know, we're going to have to keep an eye on this as it moves eastward. The one question is how many showers we've had right now, say along 57, and how much that's going to interact with the main line of storms radar. And how much that's going to interact and how much whether it's going to interact. So kind of keeping an eye on that in particular. Radar is behind right now. Not sure why. So switch over this. All right, so my radar is running a little bit further behind for some reason on that product. So I'm going to switch over here so we can get a better one, better view and better idea of what's going on. The other one will updates here anytime soon. Now let's go back to the other one. All right. Sorry, guys. This first round of severe weather this year, we're still trying to kind of track some of this and figure out exactly what we're doing, but here we go. All right, so again, coming through, yes, this is the line that we've been talking about for the last few days, coming through the area. Let me zoom out, everybody, and let me see if I can't show you again what's going on here. Everything that we've got. This is the main line of storms. The good news is that once this main line of storms goes through, animate here. Once this main line of storms goes through, the good news is that things really start to wind down and kind of, I won't say taper off, but the severe weather threat will go down. Okay, so this is the main event. This is the main line of storms we are going to be tracking here this evening. Lots of the red boxes again are tornado warnings. The orange boxes are severe thunderstorm warnings. All of the showers out ahead of this, we don't think are going to impact things a lot. There's just so much wind shear in the atmosphere that we don't anticipate major changes or major weakening as this moves eastward. Okay, that's not what we're expecting at this point. We are anticipating possibly the line actually gaining some strength as it moves. So that's something to consider too. Look at see if we've got any reports that have come in here over the last couple of minutes. Sirens just went off in Pinckneyville. That's from Austin. Yeah, they've been under a severe thunderstorm or a tornado warning for a little while. I'm actually surprised that it's taken them that long to set them off. Looks like we've got possibly some 60 to 70 mile per hour winds. That's from a good friend of mine. That's a little bit further to the north. That's going to be on this cell moving into the Nashville area. So that is some of the stuff maybe heading into Jefferson County here in just a bit. Folks that are in Woodlawn, I would say Ashley area. Get ready. The storm to your west. Right now, this is, again, a friend of mine, Chris Higgins out of St. Louis, works for Fox 2 up there. I see his report saying anywhere from 60 to 70 mile an hour winds as this is pushing east down the interstate. So again, that would kind of push into the northwest part of this of Jefferson County here just a bit. And if it's moving at 60, 70 mile per hour and producing those types of that type of winds, then you can almost bet the storm itself is probably moving at probably 60 to 70 miles per hour. Time that they've got on some of these right now about 50 to 60 miles per hour. So the other thing is, guys, there is going to be a massive, massive temperature drop with this thing as it is moving through. We're talking about on the front end of this, temperatures were in the 60s this afternoon, close to 70 in some areas. But by tomorrow morning, well, I think we're going to be having some snow showers, as that's a solid possibility, in addition to temperatures back in the mid-20s. So this is quite a shock to the system heading our way. Redbud, yes, you are in the clear. Asking for, trying to answer your question there. Where'd your comment go? Kimberly, yes, you are in Redbud. You guys are in the clear now. The worst of this is past you. The communities that you see here on the screen, I know these are some of the bigger communities, but if you recognize your community or if you live fairly close to some of these areas, this is the line of storms. And again, this is kind of where in the timing on everything as it's moving. That's Jackson, Missouri. That is Centralia, Illinois here in just a few minutes. We're expecting that to move in 5-10 minutes. Again, DuQuoin, 637. Murfreesboro, anywhere from 635 to 640 when I would expect that to be arriving. Okay, thanks, Ray. I just got your message, Ray Gunning, so appreciate that. So that's out of Harrisburg. Ray saying that the sirens are working, but only one is not. I believe that's in the Doris Heights area. So thank you, Ray, for clearing that up. So again, some information that went out a little while ago. I saw a lot of comments coming through that were saying, hey, the sirens in Harrisburg were not working. That is not true. Ray actually saying that just one of them is not working. So the rest of them are working. Thank you for helping clear that up. For other communities in the path, this is Benton, Illinois, so 652. Heron, 652. So again, these are estimates. Not going to be exactly at 652 as this moves in, but these are estimates. Marion coming in closer to 7. Okay, so again, if you have been watching us the last couple of days or watching me the last couple of days, you probably know that this is running just a little bit behind from what we had anticipated. Just now starting to see the western sections of this line. Yep, Coulterville. Hey, Kyle, just seeing your comment come through. Coulterville, Caitlin saying yes. I would give it, maybe another couple of minutes. The worst of it is probably through Coulterville now with the leading edge of the storm, and really the worst of it is probably by you. Give it another few minutes, and then it should be completely clear. The kind of leading edge of this, though, is really the biggest concern. So Cutler, again, Nighthawk, Cole, Swanwick. Right now, you guys are kind of in the just now getting into it. Meanwhile, Coulterville, you are getting ready to get out of it. David asking, no, right now, all of these warnings that have been issued that have been tornado warnings, that does include northern Perry County. All of these warnings are radar indicated, and you should be able to see that here in the box. Tornado radar indicated. Yes, Sparta is currently in the clear. Yes, Jim. Okay. And again, really sharp temperature drop. So I'm going to zoom back out here. Look at some of these temperatures here just behind this, all right? So as this was coming in, this was 63 degrees in Sparta. We had, well, if I believe the 79 there, 61 in Mount Vernon, 63 in Carbondale. Back behind here, this is back up into the St. Louis area. 41 currently at Lambert International in St. Louis. Out closer to Washington, Missouri, you're talking about down to 41 degrees as well. So that's the temperature drop that you are going to see with this as it continues to move through. So temperatures right now, lower 60s across southern Illinois. And then behind this, temperatures quickly dropping back into the 40s, and leave the lower 40s at that. To work on it. Yeah, we've got some of those showers. I see your comment there, Joanne, saying we've got some showers out ahead of this right now, moving in Harrisburg, and really heavy rainfall on the front end of this. I'm going to switch over again to a different radar real quick, since I think that I can get a better animation with it. So that's kind of a view of where everything's heading. Notice there's a couple little areas that are maybe not as severe into this. I would say kind of this area in Perry County in southeast Missouri, getting ready to move into central sections of Jackson County, maybe not quite as strong. But then you can see in some areas to the north, from Nashville and again pushing eastward, these little Boeing pockets of storms out ahead of this, kind of moving through Nashville, and then there's a little kink back in here. This area on the top is where you're going to have really strong straight line winds. But what happens is you got this little kink that's right back in here, and that area south of Nashville, Illinois, would be an area that we'll be watching for rotation here in just a bit. Again, kind of going down the line here, maybe not as strong, maybe not quite as severe into Perryville currently. But then further to the south into northern Bollinger County from Marble Hill northward, Sedgwickville, you've got an even stronger storm. So that is what has prompted the tornado warning there and the potential there for a brief spin-up tornado. Further east, there's the showers we're talking about. Moving across southeastern Illinois, those showers really should not have much of an impact on what we're seeing. Those are elevated showers, meaning they're really not tapping into the instability down here at the ground level. Not anticipating that to be a huge issue. I will say that if we're going to see a fairly sizable tornado threat develop, it's probably going to be over the next 1 to 2 hours. somewhere in far southwest Illinois and southeast Missouri. There's been a lot of indications today that that would be where the biggest surge of moisture is. That's what we looked at just a few minutes ago. So if we are going to see a fairly sizable tornado threat develop, I would guess that it would be in this area, again, somewhere across the Boot Hill, Missouri northward. But it is something we're going to keep an eye on. All right, I'm going to switch back over here for just a second. Just checking to see if we've got any reports coming in of damage. Seeing a amateur radio. This is from the emergency management from Freeburg, saying that the entire town is without power. That's Red Bud, Illinois. So if you are in Red Bud and you joined me, if you don't mind dropping a comment, tell me what you're seeing there. I am hearing that we are seeing that the entire town of Red Bud once again is without power. And gosh, you guys just got hit real hard here, just under a week ago. So National Weather Service now saying, go back up to this storm further northward. National Weather Service really concerned with this storm currently in Clinton and Washington counties. Again, that's an area that I don't necessarily cover. However, what they are most concerned with is the potential for 70-mile-an-hour winds. So we've talked about it for the last couple of days, that was going to be one of the biggest concerns with straight line winds. So what they've done is they've gone ahead and actually put a tornado warning on that storm. National Weather Service office in St. Louis has. Getting ready to switch into the National Weather Service office in Paducah, which would cover Jefferson County. We'll see if there's a warning that's extended eastward into that county here shortly. But the timing on that, again, very strong winds. National Weather Service pretty concerned, especially here, this northern part, right now close to Hoffman and Centralia, but then also extending southward from Richview to Ashley and Irvington, eventually over towards the Woodlawn area. Dix, Texaco, the north part of there. That storm could potentially produce some 70-mile-an-hour winds, so there is some concern with that. Storm reports here. Yeah, this is running a little slower than we had anticipated, that's for sure. All right, reading through your comments here and kind of reading through everything. Reading the scene in the chat, I wouldn't say it's bad in Harrisburg. Right now, there's some heavy rain coming down, but that storm is not severe and is not really showing any strength of note south. Now we do have, again, I'm going to go back to the south here. I'm going to clear this out here. All right, so 2 new tornado warnings that do butt right up to southern Illinois. And this is the storm we were talking about a little further southward. So this is a new severe thunderstorm warning that does include Cape Girardeau. It does include the city of Cape Girardeau, okay? This line of storms has shown, let's go back over to velocity scans here. Yeah, there we go, okay. That's what is concerning. So you're going to have an area right in here. I'm just going to circle this big area. You're going to have another area right down in here. That is going to be the biggest concern for this line of storms as it moves eastward. So again, this is in southeast Missouri. This is the Sedgwickville area. And then south of Marble Hill, Missouri is one as well. Okay, so there's 2 different areas there that really stand out. Leopold, Whitewater, Laughlin, like Lake Girardeau, and then all the way over to Zion Methodist Church and the, let's see, Gordonville, Jackson, Cape. All of that would be in the path of this storm here as it moves eastward. Further northward, the threat is going to be from Sedgwickville over towards Oak Ridge, Daisy, Pocahontas, and again, this is in southeast Missouri. If this holds together, and if this continues to show this, this would move into possibly southern parts of Jackson County, parts of Union County, and parts of Alexander County. So if you live in these areas, I'm going to go ahead and put a different storm. We're off the telestration here. I'm going to go ahead and put a storm track on this. This thing is also moving really quickly. They've got it pegged at 39 miles an hour, and I would bet you it's going to be a lot stronger than that here over the next little bit. Yeah, I would say that area there, close just to the north and east of Sedgwickville in particular, is of big concern currently. Just got a new update there on that one, so that just continued to push east. All right, let me go ahead and put a storm track on this, because again, this is going to end up being into the all right, hopefully you guys can see that list there on the left. Again, currently right now, no warning for Jackson County, but the storm just to your north and west is warned for a tornado. And very concerned about an area very close to Sedgwickville, Missouri, of potentially producing a tornado. So again, if you live in southern Jackson County, and that does include, I would say, areas basically from Carbondale, Grand Tower, Pomona. I'm trying to think other areas that are in there: Cobden, Alto Pass, Anna, Wolf Lake. If you live in these areas, and then all the way north or southward, say towards McClure and East Cape, this line of storms that's heading your way means business. All right, so it is going to take some time. If it takes you a little time to get to safety, you may want to think about doing so. If you live in a mobile home, if you live in a trailer, things like that, this line of storms heading your way could potentially produce very strong straight line winds in addition to possibly a spin up tornado or two. So again, if you live in a mobile home or trailer and you heard or if you see, I would say the top of this list here: Jonesboro, Cobden, Anna, Carbondale, Carterville, in these areas, Cape Girardeau, Scott City, Jackson, and it takes you a little while to get someplace, you may want to consider doing so, okay? Very strong line of storms there. All right, further north, we do have a new. This line of storms here to the north has lost a little bit of punch. All right, so that's good news for folks in Pinckneyville. All right. It is not quite as strong. In fact, they just dropped the tornado warning on that. So Pinckneyville, the line of storms is moving in from your west. Right now, there is no warning for you. Okay. There is a oddly shaped severe thunderstorm warning that does include northern Jefferson County. That was the strong straight line winds. Let me click on this real quick. So they went ahead and they put a tornado possible on that, max wind gust 60 miles per hour. Again, there is some concern about this northern part of the line from Salem southward to Dix, Texaco, and back over towards Ashley and Woodlawn, that there could be some 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts with that. Further south, there's kind of a bit of the line is just not quite as strong here through parts of southern Perry County and northern Jackson County. It's lost a little bit as it was moving east. Big concern right now, though, is going to be the stuff that's in southeast Missouri and getting ready to cross into southwest Illinois. Further south, looks like this storm here several more to the south of that as well in the Boot Hill, Missouri. I don't think those are going to quite get to our southern counties in southern Illinois. I think they're probably going to stay in western Kentucky if I had to guess. So again, kind of giving you a rundown of everything that's going on right now. There's the line of storms pushing east. This area here, southeast Missouri right now. A weird, bad radar frame here, so give me just a second to clear that out of here. All right, let's go ahead and switch back over to that. This area here, north of Oak Ridge in particular, that is nasty. Those are very strong winds coming down through here. Back right up in here, looks like a little bit of rotation there. So that's an area that I'm most concerned with right now. Current path on that, assuming it kind of holds. Notice this is the Mississippi River here to the east, kind of right over here. That's the Mississippi River, so you'd be at Grand Tower. The Wolf Lake area is a little bit further to the south. That's right back down in here. And then you've got Alto Pass and Pomona as well. These are the areas that are going to be the path in this. If it holds here over the next couple of radar scans, again, it's moving very quickly, so it is going to not leave you with much time. I actually wouldn't be surprised if we see a tornado warning issued here shortly for areas of Jackson and Union County. So giving you a heads up for folks that watch this thing. Look at that big, strong straight line winds there, getting ready to cross I-55. Folks asking about Pinckneyville, I see you there. I would say Pinckneyville, no, you're not in the clear yet. The leading edge of this storm line. Back over to reflectivity. Leading edge of the storm line just went through or is going through Pinckneyville now. Give it about 5 minutes or so, and I think then you will be in the clear if you're in Pinckneyville. Folks from Nashville, Illinois, yes, you're in the clear currently from severe weather. Shannon saying here, would have to look for that report. I see your comment there. Folks for like Harrisburg, again, it's going to be after 7. It's going to be probably between 7 and 8 before this arrives there. Definitely concerned here with the southern part of this. This thing is just, I'm telling you, there's a, I would bet you we are pretty close. Switch over. Right here. See if what I can come up with here. Just give me a second. We are going to be looking for this. So this is going to be Oak Ridge. Again, Grand Tower southward to Wolf Lake, Alto Pass, Cobden. This storm to your west potentially has a tornado developing on it right now. Getting ready to cross over I-55 just north of Oak Ridge in southeast Missouri. All right, let's go back north and let's delay that. I'm looking for see if I can get you a camera shot out of there. All right, new big severe thunderstorm warning just plotted in. They put a tornado possible tag on it, meaning that they don't see anything that's imminent for a tornado, but with this kind of eddies and everything else that we've got going on, they went ahead and put the possibility that there could be one that gets embedded in this line. Notice the storm motion now at about 63 miles per hour. So again, this line really strengthening and moving now really quickly as it moves east. So I would expect some 60-mile-an-hour winds with this storm as it moves eastward. Mount Vernon would be there in about 15 minutes. Areas of Franklin County, that's anywhere from Royalton to Christopher, Ziegler, Benton, West Frankfort. Notice it's between now and 7 o'clock, so about next 20 minutes or so, it's going to arrive in your area. Meanwhile, McLeansboro and Fairfield, a little bit later for you. Right, so that's the severe thunderstorm warning. Let's go back over and see what we can find here. Still most concerned with this storm. So again, get ready. I bet you, looking at this, the next step from the National Weather Service is going to be issuing a tornado warning eastward. So get ready for areas of Jackson County. I have a feeling that warning is coming very shortly. All right, so there's the latest on that. That's going to be heading really close to Grand Tower, Pomona, Carbondale, McAnda, Alto Pass. That storm to your west is extremely strong. Not as concerned with the stuff to the south anymore. Definitely most concerned, switching over to base storm relative velocity here. Most kind of concerned right here. 50 roughly. Idea there. Where this line's going to be moving in. So again, this is the southern part. This is, to me, the biggest concern at this point for potentially bringing or producing a tornado is going to be with the southern storm, especially the area that's heading towards Grand Tower. Yep. See your comment there on YouTube coming through. That was from Trains and Morse 5370. Yep, you are. The worst of it is by you. You are all clear in Pinckneyville. You are all clear in Campbell Hill and Steelville and Chester, and everywhere in Randolph County is now in the clear from this. Western sections, Cutler, up to Swanwick and Coulterville. You guys are all in the clear from this storm as well. Again, this northern part right now, a few little kinks in this line, keeping an eye on, but there's nothing that just jumps out to me initially. A lot of severe thunderstorm warnings there, though. Big severe thunderstorm warning for all of Franklin County, northern Jackson County, all of Jefferson County, and that of eastern Perry County as well. Really still waiting for them. I'm surprised they have not issued it, but I imagine it's coming here very shortly. Further to the south, that is and we do have a new severe thunderstorm warning that also includes parts of Alexander County in southern Illinois. All right, so there it is. All right, new tornado warning. Here we go, guys. All right, new tornado warning. Just been issued. This tornado warning, if I can make those sound bigger. I see some folks asking about that. If you're watching on your phone and you're watching on Facebook, again, if you're like me and you want to see it and you want to get it bigger that you can see on a larger screen TV, that's any better. You can also watch on YouTube if you search meteorologist Nick Hausen on YouTube. I'm live there. All right, so new tornado warning for Jackson County, southern parts of Jackson County. Does include Murfreesboro, does include Carbondale. Alto Pass also included in that. Gorham is included in this new tornado warning. Also, further eastward, the warning does now include Marion, Carterville, Energy, Crab Orchard Lake, Macanda, Pomona, the Bosquedale area, Heron, and this warning stretches all the way eastward to Johnston City and Culp. It would include, I'm trying to think some areas, maybe probably not quite to Royalton, but it's pretty close. But this is a tornado warning that has been issued for this area of rotation back to the west. All right, so moving very, very, very quickly. All right, so there's the times. Fix this. Sorry, guys. Radar indicated tornado warning. All right, so there you go. So there's the timings on this. Again, tornado warning issued for Jackson County. Tornado warning also issued for Williamson County. It does include the far northern part of, you can hear the sirens going off here in Marion as well. So it does include the far northern part of Union County. So those are the three areas now under a tornado warning with this storm. Sirens going off, just went off in Murfreesboro. I'm seeing comments come through. Seeing them. Lake of Egypt is not currently in this tornado warning. That's a good question. Lake of Egypt is not currently in this tornado warning. All right, this warning is for, I say that the far, far northern part of Lake of Egypt might just barely be in the warning. Right now, with the areas from basically Marion, Carterville, Energy, Macanda, Carbondale, we'll say from Gorham to Grand Tower, these are the areas under a tornado warning currently. There's the times on the left side of your screen. So again, and this has been warned out quite some ways. So if you are in Heron, or if you're in Carterville, if you're in Energy, if you're in Carbondale and you're in Macanda, this line of storms is moving quickly. But you have some time to get to a safe place. All right. So again, if you live in a double wide, you live in a trailer, you live in a mobile home, you're going to want to get out of that. And you're going to want to try to get into a much sturdier, safer structure. Okay. So that means trying to find maybe a friend or a neighbor that has a sturdier shelter. Okay, so area of rotation, let me go back over to velocity and let's check back in on that. still a pretty strong area of rotation. That's just now getting ready to cross the Mississippi River close to Grand Tower. So that's the storm path on this. Say from Grand Tower to Carbondale, Bosquedale area to Makanda, and then right now it looks like that's probably going to stay on kind of on the southern side of this. So I would say Little Grassy, Devil's Kitchen, and then eastward into, say, Crab Orchard Lake, Carterville, Marion. Again, it's going to be a little while before it makes it to Marion. We're still probably talking about anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. But if you live in these areas and it takes you a little while to get to a safe spot, consider going ahead and doing so. All right, so that is just now crossing the river. Looks like that's going to cross right there north of Grand Tower, kind of the Fountain Bluff area, Gorham. Okay. Again, if you are in Marion, I know for a fact if you're in Carbondale or if you're in Murfreesboro, your sirens are going off right now. I'm seeing a lot of comments come from that. So again, if it takes you a little time to get someplace, go ahead and consider doing so. If you live in these areas, I'm going to clear back the timing here, just so that you can see the red box. If you live in this red box and you feel threatened or it takes you a little while, again, go ahead and consider doing so. Slide back over. Let me look at some reports, see if we've got anything coming through. Radar indicated, with the way that the line is today, I do not anticipate that we're going to see a lot of initial reports of a tornado. Okay, that's just not. This is not like the tornadoes we had last year, where it was daytime, these big wedge tornadoes. These are going to be very fast-moving spin-up tornadoes, okay? If we're not seeing a tornado with this storm, if nothing else currently, Grand Tower, you guys are kind of dealing with the worst of it currently. If we're not going to see a tornado with this storm, it's going to be the strong straight-line winds. And that thing does, if I can go back over here, 50, 60 mile an hour winds just right here, and we're pretty high up reading that, so we're probably getting pushed down. So anywhere from 60 to 70 mile an hour winds, I think, are also possible. So again, tornado warning if you are just joining me. Tornado warning for southern Jackson County, really the southern half. New update pushes this thing right across the river. So crossing Route 3 right now. Grand Tower Power Plant's going to be about right in here. So just now past, I would say the worst of it is really moving into the Oakwood Bottoms area currently is what we'd be seeing with this storm. Irene, if you're in Marion and in an RV, I would consider trying to get out of that RV and going to find a safer structure. Even if you're in an RV park or something along those lines and they've got a bathroom, I think it's better than trying to ride this out in an RV. Don't really got any good eyes or good cameras down in that area, but just to give you an idea again on the storm path of this, I can draw a line here. I think generally a storm path is going to be something about right in here. Kind of in the middle there. What I would expect, at least for the rotation with this storm. Boy, it's really coming, it's really picking up some speed though. So again, south of Carbondale, Makanda, Pomona, Natural Bridge area, all the way over towards Highway 51, Cedar Lake, south side of Carbondale. And then again, Devil's Kitchen and Little Grassy. I would even include Giant City State Park in that. And then northward to Crab Orchard Lake. kind of the main path, I think, with this. It might be a little bit further to the south, but this is the area that we are most concerned with, and I don't... Let's see here what we got. We got any... Okay. They've also went ahead and extended a severe thunderstorm warning eastward for some... Sorry, guys, just reading through reports, trying to see if there's anything that's in here with this. All right, let me go ahead and clear that telestration off of here. Kind of widen out the view. I don't want to get caught off guard and miss anything as well, but let's go switch back over to reflectivity. All right, so line of storms right now from Mount Vernon southward. Worst of it's moving through, for folks that are in DuQuoin, the worst of it's moving through you now. You're probably going to have some strong straight line winds. Further to the south, same thing into the rest of Jackson County. So from DuQuoin southward into Jackson County, it's probably, the worst of it's probably close to Virgins right now, and then approaching Elkville and DeSoto. Further south than that, we do have a severe thunderstorm net warning. That's a big old severe thunderstorm warning. What I'm going to do is probably clear off the severe thunderstorm warnings just to get rid of the orange cover so that you can just see the tornado warnings. Okay, so that tornado warning, there's another one in southeast Missouri there that does include Cape Girardeau, but the one we are continuing to track and we're probably most concerned with is this area here, just very close to the Grand Tower area. This thing has, I don't have any reports of a tornado on the ground, but it is impressive, and it has shown that it's held it together. It's been moving eastward. Again, if we're not seeing a tornado with this, I think it's possible that we're seeing also some very, very strong straight line winds. I'm looking here. I'm going to see if, switch over to a product, look to see if there's any debris getting picked up on this. Nothing that really screams at me currently that we're seeing debris get lofted or anything like that. So that's some good news. Okay. Hearing Tara saying big gust just came through Murfreesboro. Sirens still going off in Marion currently. I can hear them. So again, guys, the worst of this right now is right back up in here. Right up in here. It's one spot. Potentially another little spot right back up in here. So both of these little areas are the spots that we are watching. So again, looking downstream, just been fallen to. Hey, let me know also, by the way, we went ahead and I increased the town size on the map so that you guys could see this a little bit better. I'm going to zoom in here just a bit. See a few more of these. This is east. This is approaching 127. So currently, this is just north of Alto Pass. And just south of Murfreesboro. I think the worst of it is between Alto Pass and Murfreesboro, approaching 127 currently. Pomona's not on my map, but it is going to be close to the Pomona area currently. If you're in Pomona, you're getting hit with the worst of it here just over the next couple of minutes, okay? Carbondale, this is also heading your way. So Carbondale, McCanda, Cedar Lake area is kind of right up in here. We'll say it's kind of right down in here. Cedar Lake area, so this is approaching that area. So if you live close to Cedar Lake, you need to be heading to shelter again. Carbondale, McCanda, eastward, Crab Orchard Lake sits about right up in here. So if you live in this area, if you live close to the vicinity, I would say from, again, Little Grassy, Devil's Kitchen, Touch of Nature, further northward to Carterville, Energy. Consider going to Shelter, or if you need to, if it takes you a minute to get there, you need to be moving there. Got a couple of minutes in Carbondale. You've got a couple of minutes in Makanda. Pomona, this is currently almost right on top of you. Get caught off guard just a bit by this one to the south either, because I have a feeling that we might see back over to base velocity. Anything else coming up? All right, so newest update just came in. Notice the big little push northward. So again, Carbondale, Cedar Lake. Gosh, you guys are going to be kind of close to this one. Big wind gusts likely coming in from the west on that one. All right, so if you are just joining us again, tornado warning, southern Jackson County, far northern Union County, areas that we're most concerned with really right now, southern parts of Jackson County. Asking if there's a tornado. The rotation and what radar's showing me indicates that we potentially are seeing some rotation just north of the Pomona area. So let me go ahead and circle and kind of show you what I'm looking at here. But the area of rotation is going to be more kind of down in here. All right, it's going to be kind of down here in the southern part. That's going to slide. That's approaching, again, just south side of Carbondale from about Cedar Lake to Makanda. Right there, it's going to be approaching, sitting almost on top of 127 now. And then we'll be kind of crossing over into, again, crossing Cedar Lake and over to Highway 51 shortly. Further north, I think here's what we've got. I think we've got some really strong straight line winds also in the northern part of this. Okay, so we're probably going to still have some possibly 60 to 70 mile an hour winds potentially on the north side of this. Not as pronounced as what it was maybe a couple minutes ago, so that's some good news. Hoping we're kind of seeing the top part of this overtake the part of the strong winds. I'm kind of hoping we see that slide a little bit further and kind of take out the entire updraft with this and see it go and be just a little weaker as it moves eastward. All right, let's go back out just a bit here. We'll come right back to that one, guys, I promise here. Don't want to forget about other folks, okay? Strong storm, Mount Vernon southward. It's approaching, moving through, say, Cesar, getting ready to move it through Cesar. Valier, Christopher, Freeman Spur, Royalton. The worst of it's getting ready to hit you guys as far as strong straight line winds are probably the biggest threat currently with that. Further south, we do have another tornado warning still for Cape Girardeau County in southeast Missouri. We're going to see if they end up extending that eastward. So get ready for folks in Anna, over towards, say, Ware and McClure, East Cape, these areas over towards, say, Dongola. South of that, I think it's Millstone. is also potentially going to be seeing another warning here shortly. There's a little kink in the line. You can kind of see it right just north of Cape Girardeau there, potentially. So that's why they've got a tornado warning on that one. Further north, and what's really been the biggest concern here recently is a storm that's approaching Carbondale, and especially the area to the south of Carbondale, just south of town. As that has been an area that has prompted a tornado warning. That tornado warning, again, has been issued for Jackson County, southern parts of Jackson County, Carbondale, McAnda, Pomona, all the way down to Alto Pass, and then extends eastward into Williamson County. So holding together and kind of taking the storm track on this, Cambria, Carterville, Crab Orchard Lake, south of that, back down into the southwest part of the county, close to, say, Giant City State Park, and then eastward, it'd be a little grassy and touch of nature, and then Devil's Kitchen Lake and over towards 148. These are going to be the areas that are probably going to get hit hardest with this, but even over into the Marion area. We'll have to see if this ends up churning anything up here as it continues to move eastward. Still some areas of rotation, a pretty strong one still there. There's a new update. Actually, some fairly good news with that update, that the rotation has weakened a little bit. However, very strong straight line winds moving into Carbondale currently. Very strong straight line wind, Carbondale. If we have any view of this storm at all. All right, so this is the view I can get right now of it. Yeah, hold on here. The view I can currently get of this is from Carterville looking back towards the west. So that's Route 13 you can see there on the screen. And if you are seeing, I mean, I'm reading through the comments here, folks, so if you are seeing stuff, if you're, you know, if it's safe, it looks like we're going to go back to the south here. New tornado warning just issued as well. All right, so let's go ahead and switch back over to radar here real fast. We'll come back to the camera here shortly. All right, so new tornado warning has been issued further to the south. That does now include Cobden and Alto Pass. Anna, you were the north side of town. Looks like it's probably in this warning, but the area we're most concerned with is going to be just to the south of Alto Pass. So two different tornado warnings. They're in the red boxes. Two different tornado warnings. But one for the southern part of Union County and then one for the northern part of Union County, okay? It does include Cobden, northward over towards Alto Pass. Meanwhile, very strong winds moving into Carbondale right now. Very strong winds possible in the McAnda area, and then that continuing eastward here over the next bit. So again, tornado warning currently. The southern one here in the in northern Union County is until 7:30, about 25 minutes. The one in the north is also until 7:30. Okay, so two different tornado warnings right now in southern Illinois, and the areas of southern Illinois that we are most concerned with. And if you're joining us from Mount Vernon or West Frankfort or Benton or Royalton, DeSoto, if you guys are joining us from there, we're not forgetting about you. It's just it's a really strong line of storms, likely producing some strong straight line winds in these areas. But the concern and the tornado warnings that are a little bit further to the south of that, okay? So they are for Carbondale and Marion and Carterville, Heron, and Energy and Craneville and McAnda, Alto Pass, Cobden. Those are the areas currently in tornado warnings until 7:30. Okay. So the issue is, go back over to velocity. Yep. So folks, just south of Alto Pass, this is why they've issued the tornado warning. If you live in Cobden, just north of Cobden, this is an area that we're going to be really watching here in just a bit. Okay, this right now just south of Alto Pass. That's what we're watching. Rotation developing, kind of a classic embedded in the line of storms. Circulation showing up there. So Flam Orchards is kind of in this area. Along Old 51, that's right through here. This is Old 51 here. This is just now to your west. That's going to be approaching there. Flam Orchards. Trying to think what else is kind of through that area. So yeah, latest update still shows some rotation, maybe not quite as strong. And that's going to likely be this. When we talk about circulations embedded in a line of storms like this, boy, it might just be 1 or 2 radar scans. They pop up, they produce a quick spin-up tornado, and it's done. So you don't have a whole lot of time to react. But I would say that with this one, again, if you're familiar with Flam Orchard, it's going to be pretty close to that. And then it's going to be crossing over Highway 51 here shortly, just north of Cobden. That's an area that's prompted another tornado warning there. Further north, I'm going to go back over to our camera real quick. That camera is in Carterville, looking back towards the west. Black and white here for a second here. So the strongest part of this storm, kind of see a little shelf cloud in there, leading edge of this. Strongest part of this storm is going to be approaching that, though, here in just a few minutes. So that's very strong straight line winds, in my opinion. I know you're under a tornado warning still in Carterville and Marion, and we'll have to keep an eye on this. But right now, I think the bigger threat from this storm as it moves eastward is going to be, as this one is moving eastward, possibly on strong straight line winds. That's going to be tracking down Route 13 currently. So again, 2 different tornado warnings. One up here that prompted. Again, if you're in Carbondale, if you're in Murfreesboro, if you are in Alto Pass or Grand Tower or Gorham, you guys are in the clear from severe weather. Okay? You guys are in the clear from severe weather. Back over to radar here. There it is. All right, so update there. Each one of these. All right, so another spot there to watch. We'll go back over to form relative, see if we get a better view of this too. I am concerned that we are going to see these little brief couplets. There's one there just to the west of Culp right now. That was just a radar scan just showed up. That's what I'm talking about, is they come up extremely quickly in this type of environment, and it might last 1 or 2 scans. Okay, and it might only be here for this scan, and it might jump here, it might be here, and then it's very, very fast. Okay. So folks, if you're in Culp right now, I would say maybe just north of Carterville, Culp, Cambria, that area has some concern there that we could be seeing a brief spin-up tornado as well. Keep watching. That's the area that's probably the most concerning. So again, this kind of just goes all over the place. And if we've got any reports coming down. Okay, so Murfreesboro now, you guys have been trimmed back out of that warning. Let's see if we can see anything. So that's Heron Road and it'll be Heron Road and Division Street. I think the next update is going to show this. Yeah, a little concerned with this area that developed just north of Cambria. So if you live in these areas, Heron, Culp, I would say go ahead and probably, if you've got a basement, or if you've got a storm shelter, if you've got an interior room of your home, keep an eye on this one. Really kind of a messy radar here. Still watching. Well, further to the south, Cobden. See, that one's, I won't say gone, but the strong straight line wind threat is probably a little bit greater right now with that one. This whole line here is, gosh, it just takes 1 or 2 radar scans. But yeah, north side of Carterville, Culp right now, potentially seeing a storm trying to produce a tornado. I keep going back to the reports to see if we've got anything. Don't see any reports that have come through yet. Yeah, this thing is tracking pretty much near or just south of Heron Road. Should get a new update here very, very shortly. That next update's going to put it through Culp. So yeah, I mean, I just can't pinpoint exactly. Culp area, just maybe to the, into Heron is kind of where this thing's heading. The latest update kind of puts it there. So if you live in these areas, again, if you're here in your community listed, you're here in Heron, you're here in Energy. We're also going to see some really strong straight line winds as this thing is moving through. If I can get another update here from a camera feed. All right, hey, we're going to switch over real fast. This is what it looks like currently as the, this is in Carterville. So that the leading edge of that line is going through right now. All right. All right, yep. Hey, we've got we just had a power, that was if you saw that, that is concerning, all right? So that is a power flash that we saw. So that's a transformer blowing, all right, folks? If you live in Carterville, if you live in these areas, I can't say that for sure that that's what that was as far as a tornado goes, but that's one of the key characteristics there that we look for. So if you live in Carterville, if you live in Energy, if you live in Heron, you need to be seeking shelter, okay? This is going to be heading towards Johnston City and the White Ash area. All right, we're going to switch back over here real quick, and I'm going to keep an eye on that camera, all right? Could get another update here very shortly on radar, but again, Heron, Energy, Carterville, Craneville. New tornado warning just issued as well. Zooming back out here just a bit. That power flash, guys, has me concerned. I can't say, it's kind of dark out there. It's hard to see. That power flash, though, had me concerned that we were looking westward out of Carterville and somewhere in that area that we might have had a tornado touchdown. It could have been just the strong straight line winds causing that. That can cause it as well. But that left me with a pretty big concern there. All right, so this storm is going, new tornado warning does extend all the way northward to West Frankfort, Johnston City, White Ash, and then all the way eastward to Thompsonville. And then all the way, that's going to include Pittsburgh, probably, let's see here. All the areas of northeastern parts of Williamson County are in that as well. So basically, southeast sections of Franklin County, northeast sections of Williamson County. New tornado warning until 7:45 Okay, worst of this storm currently moving through Heron area energy. Velocity here. Several little couplets here to watch. I haven't forgot about you guys to the south. It's just not as pronounced further south into Union County. I know we were tracking that storm earlier back into northern Union County and into, say, southern Jackson County. I'm just not right now as concerned. I think that we've seen some weakening with that line. But I am continuing to be somewhat concerned with this storm moving through Heron right now and then getting ready to approach. So that's going to be tracking pretty much right down Heron Road, moving into Johnston City. I'm going to go back over to the camera here, show you that real fast. This is as it's moving through. This is a live view there. Appreciate our friends at Northbridge for allowing us to access their cameras for this. Someone asking me, Alexis asking about Marion. I think the worst of it right now, the most concerning part is north of there. I think it's going to be Fillertown to White Ash. Marion, you're still under a tornado warning currently. That tornado warning does run for about another 10 to 12 minutes. But this area to the north is probably the most concerning at this point. So I'm not going to tell you here. Let's go back over to radar. So the area just to the north of Marion, there's Marion. So the area just to the north of that is probably the most concerning. Each one of these little eddies here, but especially right back down. Each one, and I'll tell you, we might also have some 60 to 70 mile an hour winds in this. That's another big concern here as this is moving through. All right, so guys, if you are seeing any strong winds, if you're seeing anything, here we got a new tornado warning also just to the south here, and it does include Cairo. So let me zoom out. Let's look through all these tornado warnings we've got, because we've got several right now in southern Illinois. All right, so first tornado warning is to the north here. It extends from West Frankfort to Johnston City, southward to Marion. If you live in Johnston City in particular, that storm is the strongest storm that I think we've seen here over the last little bit, and it potentially could produce a brief spin-up tornado. Okay, so if you live in Johnston City and eastward over towards Thompsonville, anywhere, say from, call it Bandy's Pumpkin Patch over towards Johnston City, that area, I think that's going to be where the strongest part of this is right now. And then extending also northward even into West Frankfort. That little bit there from West Frankfort to Marion, that line is the most concerning right now in southern Illinois. Other area of rotation that just developed here, last couple of radar scans further south, is in southeast Missouri, but a new tornado warning has been extended into parts of southern Illinois, including from Mounds to Cairo to Wickliffe. Okay, so that is another area that we will be watching as well for a potential tornado. There's an area of rotation there, and again, moving very, very fast. I'm going to go back up here. The colors are really, really bright. It's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly, and this is one of these. It's one of these afternoons or these evenings that we're going to see. We might see a brief spin-up tornado or two here develop with this, but because it happens so fast, we might get a warning on it. We might not. But we're not going to see a lot of reports of damage coming in, likely until the sun comes up tomorrow or people kind of see it out of outside of that. Okay, that's kind of how this works. All right, sirens have been going off here in Marion for quite some time. Again, both of these are tornado warnings. If I can turn the radar off, these are the tornado warnings currently in effect for that area. But the newest tornado warning has just been plotted in. That is include southern Franklin County, so Thompsonville back to West Frankfort, Johnston City, White Ash, Spillertown, Pittsburgh, Herrin. You guys are all in this tornado warning. Johnston City, Freeman Spur. You guys are all in this tornado warning. We did have a power flash just a minute ago that showed up on the camera, which had me a little concerned. I do still see power on in the distance from that camera. That's some good news. Go back over radar here. All right, there we go. Finally plotting that in. Kind of a mess when you look at it from this radar right now. We're getting a lot of wind shear out ahead of this. It's getting picked up. It's getting it's perpendicular to the radar beam, so it's not really showing up super well. I'll go check in real quick in Marion as well. Live camera feed there. This is from Marion at I-57 in the hill, looking back towards the west. So this is the line of storms that's approaching that area currently. So that is just now starting to get into the western sections of Marion. Very strong line of storms, though, that's for sure here. Starting to see quite a few reports of damage out of Cape Girardeau County. Again, that's in southeast Missouri, but it's still the same line of storms here that we're tracking. Switch back over to all of this big bright pink. Let's go back over to radar. All this big bright pink that you see out in front of this is the wind shear getting picked up, and it's extremely strong. Gosh, we've got just a ton of wind shear right now. Further north, the tornado warning, what I'm seeing in this is just really strong straight line winds. We might see a brief spin up tornado, but what I'm seeing right now, really strong straight line winds with this as it goes through. Again, we do have another tornado warning to the south that does include Alexander County. Let me give the all clear to a few folks, because I know that there are some folks that are maybe wondering about that. So from Mount Vernon to, before I yell out a bunch of town names here, let me clarify all that. So Mount Vernon to Cesar, southward to Ziegler, to DeSoto, to Carbondale and Murfreesboro. You guys are all in the clear. DuQuoin, Pinckneyville, Gorham, you guys are all in the clear. The severe weather threat is over for you, okay? It's Cutler. Yes, Deanna, I see your comment come through. Yes. I see that your comment came through there. Yes, Cutler is in the clear. But we continue to watch again. So they've trimmed back the tornado warning. So they've taken Ziegler. They just did that. Took Ziegler out of that warning. Freeman Spur and Royalton. You guys are all out of that tornado warning. The tornado warning does continue though from West Frankfort eastward on 149 to Thompsonville and then southward as well. So that tornado warning is still in effect. We still have a tornado warning for at least a couple more minutes here to the south as well. That does include Marion. I don't foresee them issuing another tornado warning for that. We still have a tornado warning as well for Cobden for just a couple more minutes. And I do not, at least right now, I do not see them extending that eastward into the rest of the county. Okay. So right now, I know some of you folks maybe at Lake of Egypt, you guys have gotten hit so hard here the last couple of years with dealing with multiple tornadoes. If you're at Lake of Egypt, I think you're going to have a really strong storm that comes through with some strong straight line winds. But at least where we sit right now at present, I do not see a tornado. I don't think we're going to see a tornado warning for Lake of Egypt, okay? I think we're going to see a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings extended eastward here in just the next couple of minutes. I'm going to plot those. I've taken those off, but we're going to put those back on real fast. So these are all the severe thunderstorm warnings in the orange boxes. But again, what we've been most focused on is the tornado warnings. Again, just a couple more minutes on a few of these. All right, I'm going to go back up to, let's check in on the camera in Marion again real fast. Just starting to see the leading edge of this storm. And swing that camera back to the right there. There we go. Okay, that's the interstate right there. Just seeing the leading edge now coming in on the eastern side of Marion. Carterville saying that they're getting really loud. Yeah, you've got some really heavy rain, some gusty winds, but the severe threat, the real severe stuff with that, Carterville, you guys are in the clear there, okay? Johnston City seeing some major rain. So this tornado box here for Jackson and Western Williamson County should come off the board here pretty quickly, all right? We've got some really strong straight line winds. Here on the east side of Marion that are getting ready to move there. And folks, I'm not forgetting about you to the north. The storms just aren't quite as strong from Blueford to Bellrive to Dahlgren. You guys are dealing with some strong winds moving through. I'm not going to tell you that, but it is not quite as strong as what it is further south. You can just see, looking at radar, if I zoom this out quite a bit, that's a much lighter orange color and yellow color versus somewhat to the south, where from West Frankfort, Pittsburgh, Marion right now, where the line is much darker orange, just a stronger storm overall. All right, so that tornado warning we were talking about for western sections of Williamson County, Marion, I really think the bulk of Marion, you guys are dealing with a pretty nasty storm right now. Back over to strong straight line wind's going to move through on the leading edge of this. But I would even say from Johnston City to West Frankfort, Heron Energy, you guys right now are all at least behind the severe weather threat, okay? The main threat is on the leading edge of this, so Thompsonville and now into the northeastern part of Williamson County. All right, so right now, the two tornado warnings that we have on the board are for Cairo, southern Alexander County. That's a real strong storm. We're going to get to that one here in just a second. And then also that tornado warning that is for the eastern part of Franklin County. The strongest part of that storm is just is east of West Frankfort right now. strongest part of that storm is really hitting Thompsonville currently, and it's going to continue eastward. Galatia, Long Branch, McLeansboro, Macedonia, West End, Corinth. If you're familiar with where Mock Mine is, these are the areas right now that I think that are getting hit the hardest with this storm. Go back to the south. Let's look at this storm. This one also has some concern with it. Let's look into this one. Again, tornado warning there for basically from Mounds. Yeah, that one's real concerning right there. One of the better couplets we've seen today. Yes, guys, I am trying to read as many comments as I can as we go through this. But all right, so Mounds City. I would say future city, so probably just areas north of Cairo, but I would say Mound City in particular. The Cairo Airport sits about right in here. There it is, right? New update. So Mounds to Mound City, to me, has one of the better rotation couplets that we have seen today, okay? So if you live in these areas, if you live in Mound City, if you live in Mounds, Huckleberry is about right here. And then this is, of course, 37. So from Olmsted, Mounds, Mound City, this is going to cross over the Ohio River here in just a bit. I think that one could be, go ahead and slide over. I don't see anything on, I don't see any debris getting picked up right now, but I was looking at that one in particular pretty closely because of that. That's a nasty cell there. So again, Mounds to Mound City, I think there's a chance that we could be seeing a tornado trying to develop. Go look at this storm too. This one has kind of a nasty look to it as well. All these little notches that you see here embedded in this, that's what concerns me when I start seeing those. Going back to the north, again, kind of the Mock Mine, Thompsonville, you guys are getting hammered right now with this storm, Corinth, and then this will push eastward. I imagine, just based on what we've seen, we're going to see surprised we have not seen the I'm wondering if we'll see a severe thunderstorm or not here issued further eastward for some of these areas. All right, so giving the all clear for folks in Carterville, Heron, Christopher, Ziegler, Benton, Valier, Cesar, Ewing, all the way up to Mount Vernon, Bonnie, Ina, and then all the way westward to Pinckneyville and DuQuoin, Carbondale, Murfreesboro, Anna. You guys are all in the clear, okay? New tornado warning just issued. Gosh, guys, I'm sorry. All right, so new tornado warning was just issued. This does include areas of Johnson County, basically the northern half of Johnson County, okay? Northeastern parts of Pulaski County, western Union County, and then the northern half of Johnson County. Remember I was talking about that those little kinks in the line? That's what we were talking about here just a second ago. That's the one that they've issued the warning on. All right, guys, looking at reports here real fast. See. Really strong straight line winds, though, moving eastward on this storm, too, further north. All right, so a report did come through. This is from some of the emergency management for Williamson County and for Jackson County both, okay? So Jackson County is saying several power outages and trees down across the county right now. Williamson County officials are saying Cambria right now has a lot of power lines that are leaning or tipping. So they've asked residents to shelter in place while the fire department looks at some of the damage. Okay, guys? So those are some of the things we're keeping an eye on as well. New tornado warning also issued a little further to the south. All right. So this tornado warning for northeast Williamson and southeastern Franklin County, that line of storms is still just barely in that warning. It's getting ready to move into northern Saline County and southern Hamilton County. Just looking at what I'm seeing, I don't expect them to extend that warning into Saline or Hamilton County. Strong straight line winds, probably the biggest threat with that one currently. Further to the south, we do have two areas that have prompted warnings. This is a big warning. This line is moving almost due east. I'm a little surprised that they took the warning this far north, but that's for an area of rotation. Pick up here. Kind of heading in the Cypress area. I would say Cypress and Vienna. Heading towards those areas. So it's going to be crossing over 37 here shortly and 146. Further to the south from there, another couplet that has prompted a tornado warning that is west of Olmsted currently, but it does include Olmsted. This is an area that I am actually probably the most concerned with right now. That's the one we were talking about. It just went through Mounds here just a second ago. Anything? No. That's going to be heading towards Olmsted. And then would continue, possibly cross or run very close to the Ohio River. New Grand Chain over towards Joppa, kind of in this area, is in that warning. So that's another area we're concerned with. The rotation up here is just not quite as defined. I'm going to see if we can. What prompted the warning? The area down here towards Cypress is what I think prompted the warning. So Cypress to Vienna. I'm surprised that they took the warning as far north as they did to include Goreville and the Lake of Egypt. Right now, I think you've got some strong straight line winds there, but I don't see anything that really is screaming that there's a tornado there in the Lake of Egypt area or is going to be close to that. So at this point, I think that that risk is going to be south of you. Got a lot of questions right now coming through about kind of giving the all clear. Yeah, Marion, I think you're good to go. Okay, I think that yes, Adrian asking, Chloe in there in the YouTube chat as well. All you guys, I think the threat for severe weather is good for you guys, okay? Ghostbuster guy, yeah, the sirens are still going off. There's a couple more minutes left on that warning. At this point, I do anticipate that well, I know that the worst of the threat is over in Johnston City, West Frankfort. The worst of the threat is over for you too. So West Frankfort, Johnston City, Marion, the worst of this is past you. Okay, there is no more tornado threat with this in West Frankfort, Johnston City, or Marion. Okay. Thompsonville, give it a couple more minutes. The worst of it, I think, is going to be on the leading edge and probably is done for you as far as the worst of the severe weather threat. Give it a couple more minutes. All right, so if you are, go ahead and draw a line here. My family actually went over and took shelter as well here just a little while ago at some friend's house. So I apologize if you hear a dog barking in the background as they are coming home currently. Tracking device is not working here. All right, we're going to go ahead and zoom back in on a couple of these spots. All right, so the two areas that are probably most concerning right now are in Johnson County and then also in Pulaski County. Okay, so Olmsted and then over towards, say, Cypress and approaching the Vienna area. Those are the two areas that at present I am most concerned with in southern Illinois. Woo! Just had a big lightning bolt here at the house. Right, switch this over. All right, I wanted to show you this camera real fast. Some of the lightning on the back side of this is very intense. So yes, the leading edge of this storm line is the biggest concern. But let me tell you, the lightning just behind this is really intense. Keep an eye on this camera here. This is from just south of Marion and kind of the Hickory Hills area. Yeah, asking about which towns are in the clear right now. Mount Vernon, Benton, southward, West Frankfort, Johnston City, Marion, Anna. You guys are, whoa, see, look at that one. Big old flash of lightning there on that camera. Whew. DuQuoin, Pinckneyville, Carbondale, Murfreesboro, Anna, Gorham, Grand Tower, all the way to Chester and Sparta. You guys are all in the clear. The areas that are still not in the clear. I'm going to switch back over to radar here. The areas that are not in the clear are from McLeansboro to Harrisburg to Carmi to Shawneetown, Vienna. Okay, so the areas that right now that are still seeing, so tornado warnings have all been canceled or have expired to the north. Let's So right now there are no warnings for Saline, Hamilton, Franklin, Jefferson, or Williamson County. There are no warnings for any of those counties. But we do have still several warnings that are in effect right now, including 2 tornado warnings. Take these off here. All right, so we do have still 2 tornado warnings that are in effect for Johnson County, and again, the area that I'm probably most concerned with and looking at was towards the Vienna area. Let me go back over to base or storm relative, see if we can pop that in here real quick. The little area of rotation there that was close to Vienna, that's moving in there now. Some really strong straight line winds in this thing up here, closer to, say, Creel Springs, and then now eastward over towards Stone Fort. Carrier Mills, Stone Fort areas along Highway 45. I would expect some really strong winds with this, possibly some 60 to 70 mile an hour winds. radar here for a second. There, it's back. Okay. Yeah, so no warnings currently again for Saline County, but I would get ready for some real strong winds. Watching this little area here close to the Galatia area, that's one of the spots that we've kind of, that's similar to some of the little eddies we've seen as this line has been pushing eastward. Come on, radar, switch on over for me. There we go. And southward. And these little kinks in the line here, that's kind of what I've been most concerned with. Back over, see if we have any more reports that have come through here recently. Don't have a whole lot that has come through yet. Over, show you that. I'm telling you, the lightning is just so intense on this thing. There's some really close strikes here. All right, let's go back out here. My tracking device is finally starting to work again here, so I want to give an update on this. Moving about 60 miles an hour, so let's do that. So there's a list of some of the times there. It's moving into Vienna here now. Basically, Carrier Mills coming in a couple of minutes. Harrisburg for a time for you. It's roughly 5 to 10 minutes out from Harrisburg. El Dorado maybe a couple minutes after that. And then you start getting into, say, North City and Shawneetown and Rosiclare. That Mount Vernon you see there, if you're in Mount Vernon, Illinois, that is actually Mount Vernon, Indiana, that's getting picked up there, okay? And the same with the Marion. The Marion that is listed on that list, at the bottom of that list is Marion, Kentucky, not Marion, Illinois, okay? Marion, Illinois now in the clear from severe weather. Okay, so right now, that would put it at about 820 or so, hopefully. 820, I'm hoping that we said between 8 and 9, we'd likely see the all clear for Southern Illinois. Fingers crossed, that's what I'm hoping for, is that by anywhere from 8 to 9, that this is all out of here. Asking about, yeah, hey, there's the time for Harrisburg. Right now, there's no indication that this line will produce a tornado in Harrisburg. However, again, we've had multiple little couplets develop. We've likely had multiple tornadoes this evening as well as a result of this. So it is something to keep an eye on. Again, if you'll know if the warning goes off. That's what we're going to do. We're going to track these as they make their way through. Go back in on the tornado warning to the south. They've actually dropped the warning for much of Johnson County, so that has been dropped for you in Lake of Egypt. It's been dropped for you in Vienna as well. Yes, Cope is safe. Stacy, yes, it is safe. The area that prompted the warning is right back actually in here. Thunderstorm. Not as defined as what it was just a little while ago, so that's some good news. There it was, the last. Watch this little guy here from Mound City, and then right into Ballard County, northern Ballard County in western Kentucky. That's going to be heading close to Joppa here. I don't see it being as pronounced. It looks like maybe we've lost some of it. However, again, right in the middle of that warning box, that's Joppa. Mermet area would be in there too. Lost radar there for a second. Let's see if it comes back. Kind of surprised actually that we don't have a warning right now for this line of storms moving into at least the southern part of Saline County. Well, we do. Maybe I just off. That's yeah, we do not. So I'm a little surprised we don't have a severe thunderstorm warning for these areas. There's some really strong straight line winds coming in across this thing. Got a view here. I'm going to show you real quick from Metropolis. View from Metropolis, looking back towards the west, and look at the storm. Radar keeps going out for some reason here. That's a live view from Metropolis looking back towards the west. So that's looking back at this storm. Metropolis sitting right here. Metropolis right here, and then Joppa, of course, looking northward. I have to keep an eye on this little other one that shows up here just outside of Simpson. A whole lot showing up on. Not a whole lot showing up here on velocity scans. Anytime I see these little notches that show up, that's what we were trained to look for, okay? Yeah, real strong winds right now moving through New Burnside and Stone Fort and Carrier Mills, and then approaching, that's going to be moving east. So from Pankyville southward to Mitchellsville. I know there's a Dollar General about right in here. Get ready for some really strong winds in that area, and that's going to continue eastward. But also, I would say anywhere from Eddyville northward, so from, we'll say Shotgun Eddies, Eddyville northward to Mitchellsville, and then into up to the south side of Harrisburg, there's some really strong winds with that. Probably going to see some 60-mile-an-hour winds possibly with that one. Meanwhile, to the south, the area that prompted the warning here. So, just not as pronounced. I'm not really seeing a whole lot with this storm that's moving into Massac County, crossing back over the Ohio River currently, but I'm not seeing as much. We're pretty close to the radar, so I would see some. We would at least see some winds from the west moving in. I've got a friend calling me in New Burnside here for just a second, so let me grab this real fast. Looks like new tornado warning just extended as well for Massac, southeastern Johnson, Pope counties. Hello. Sorry about that, guys. Had a close friend in New Burnside that wanted to make sure everything was all right, and he was doing all right. They were a little concerned with the storm moving through, too. All right, so new tornado warning. Big old tornado warning. Whew. All right, new tornado warning for Massac County. That does include also much of Polk County and southeastern Johnson County. That tornado warning actually runs until 8:45. What they're doing here is they're saying, hey, look, there's a big line of storms. Got a bunch of little areas of rotation that we're keeping an eye on it. But we can't really pinpoint exactly if there's or where there's a tornado in this currently. So that's why they issue these huge blanket warnings sometimes. Reading through, no tornado warnings for Saline County. Real strong storm line moving through there, but no tornado warnings for Saline County. Okay. Gina's saying it's pretty bad. New Burnside, yeah, that's some real strong winds that are coming through there on that storm line. Switch back over here to the Cameron Metropolis is back looking towards the west. See the lightning coming in. That line's still not quite there, but it's getting closer. Yes, Cambria, you're okay. You're in the all clear now. Lots of strong winds on the front edge of this. Yeah, Lou Lacrosse, the tornado sirens, everyone but the Doris Heights ones are working. Yes, they are. I talked with the fire chief earlier, and he said that they are all working except for one, and that's the Doris Heights ones, and they are aware. All right. So getting back here, so everybody, I'm going to say from Galatia to McLeansboro, to Wayne City, to, again, everybody that's pretty much behind this line. I'm going to draw a line here. Everybody that's behind this line is in the clear. You can see that yellow line on the screen. Everybody behind that, to the left of that line, is in the clear. Okay, that's Carbondale, Marion, West Frankfort, Benton, DuQuoin, Mount Vernon, Anna, Vienna. You guys are all in the clear. Okay. The leading edge of this is moving through Harrisburg now. It's going to be approaching Equality shortly, Carmi as well, and we'll say North City and Omaha, and Ridgeway and New Haven, Shawneetown. You guys still, it's got a little ways to get there, but it's getting closer. Right now, no warnings to your west in those areas. The area that has a tornado warning currently is for Pope County. It's right up to the Hardin County line, and then much of Massac County, and then far southeastern parts of Johnson County are still in a tornado warning. Okay, that's where we're going to start kind of pushing our attention here, as that is where the threat currently is the highest. Elsewhere, strong straight line winds, but this red box that you see here on the screen, that is the tornado warning that is in effect. And again, that does include Golconda. So Dixon Springs and Golconda right there along 146 southward to Bay City. Currently the strongest part of this storm moving through the Joppa area. Big tornado warning. The reason they issue those because it's hard when you're working with a line of storms like this to pinpoint exactly where some of the areas of rotation are. But a brief spin-up tornado seems very possible with this as it's been moving eastward. Take a drink here. Pulaski County, you guys are in the clear too. The storm line just went into Massac County. All right, so see they've carved back that warning here. They've taken Pulaski County completely out of the tornado warning. They still have a tornado warning for all of Massac County, the far southeastern part of Johnson County, and then at least the southern 3/4 of Hope County is included in that. So again, Dixon Springs, Golconda, Bay City, and then over towards Metropolis, Brookport, Smithland, in Kentucky there, you guys are all in a tornado warning currently. There's no area that I'm seeing that's just jumping out at me as an area of rotation, but this line has produced several little couplets, several little areas to watch. So that's what we've been really keeping an eye on. Diana saying winds in Mitchellsville, in the Mitchellsville area currently. This is that live view from Metropolis looking back towards the west. Franklin County, you guys, Wayne, I'm answering your question there. Franklin County, you guys are all in the clear. Okay, this line of storms now is past you, so the severe weather threat has ended for you. Something we haven't really talked a lot about is what the future holds for us here with this storm system. And this storm system is really, really impressive. Leading edge for you in Harrisburg. Good question there. Mike's saying getting pretty rough right now in the North City area. Yeah, the leading edge of that is right now going right through your area. Harrisburg, as far as the threat goes currently, I think the worst of it is by you. You've got some real strong winds going through there, some real heavy rain, a ton of lightning as well. But the worst of the actual severe weather threat is probably over for you. This thing is finally starting to pick up some steam and push east. It was running a little slower than what we had anticipated earlier today. So yes, I would say Harrisburg's currently in the clear, yes. As far as severe weather goes, yes. In El Dorado, Samantha, give it a couple more minutes. And JJ, I would just give it just a couple more minutes. I think the severe weather threat is ending for you pretty quickly, but I would say in 5 minutes you're good to go. Ellen saying just north of Shotgun Eddies, heavy rain and lightning. That's in Eddyville, Illinois. Had dinner there last week, so appreciate that report. All right. What are you expecting in Shawneetown, Ashley? This line of storms is pretty strong still, so I would expect that, if nothing else, some really strong straight line winds as this moves through for your neck of the woods. I think the tornado threat is possible. Right now, we're most concerned kind of with this area south of there. That's going to eventually end up running pretty close and kind of parallel with the Ohio River. But that's kind of what we're keeping an eye on. Yes, I would say the New Burnside, the threat is pretty much over. You might, again, kind of like Harrisburg or El Dorado, you might give it another 5 minutes or so and let this kind of settle on through. And then I would definitely give you the all clear. Same with Carrier Mills. Maybe give it another minute or two, and then I think you're good to go. Gracie, I haven't really said much for Calvert City or Marshall County in those areas. Appreciate you asking.
Right now, tornado warning is in effect there from Calvert City to Reedland, Paducah, Metropolis, Brookport. So that is going to be the strongest part of this storm. You can kind of just look through the line here and see, if I zoom this out just a bit, see how much stronger it is in some of our southern counties versus with some of our northern counties. One thing that kind of helped us today is that we just didn't have a lot of instability to work with. Each one of these, there's a little couplet here that's right at Dixon, just south of Dixon Springs. There's one there, one just north of that. That's pretty close to the Ag Center. And then also south of that on 145. That is just west of 145 and between I-24 and I-145 there, another little couplet. So each one of those, you know, has a chance that you could see a brief spin up on. That's why they've issued this massive tornado warning for all of, you know, Massac County. Johnson County, you guys are now in the clear. So again, Williamson County, Johnson County, Pulaski, Alexander, Union, Jackson, Franklin, Jefferson, I would say Hamilton as well, but Perry, Randolph County, you guys are all in the clear now, okay? I'm going to switch back over to this camera in Metropolis real fast as that line of storms is just now moving in there from the looking back towards the west. We'll keep an eye on that one. All right, guys, I want to show you something here real fast, okay? Taking a break kind of from the storms here for just a second. All right, so this is at 9 o'clock this evening. This is the time for that. That's where that line of storms is expected to be, okay? That line of storms probably going to be east of us, out of here. Everybody's in the all clear by 9 o'clock, okay? So that's just 50 minutes from now. Look what happens overnight, though, guys. We see the temperatures just plummet with this thing. Yeah, tomorrow morning, that right there, those are snow showers pushing through here early Monday morning. And potentially even around the midday hours, we could see some very light snow. The ground's really warm, so I'm not anticipating really any issues on the roads, but it would not be entirely out of the question for us to actually see a light dusting on some of the grassy surfaces. Pretty incredible stuff considering we were almost near 70 today. And yeah, we might actually see a little bit of light snow. This rain probably not going to freeze too much tomorrow morning. I'm not too concerned about it, but it is a really, really sharp cool down, that's for sure. Go back over and I'll switch back over to radar here. Just wanted you guys to understand that, like, this is quite a cool down for us. And to be honest, this is a pretty interesting storm system from that perspective. One of the reasons, of course, we're dealing with really strong storms as well as they're making their way through the area. All right, so let's go ahead and zoom back over to radar. Of course, that line going through currently. Course of the line still going through Metropolis currently now. Again, each one of these little eddies that we're watching here on reflectivity, that's what we're concerned about. Brief, very fast moving spin up tornadoes. Further north, see your comments there from Ridgeway and from Charisse and Ridgeway, and I see your comments from Shawneetown and Equality. The line of storms is losing a little intensity further northward. So there's going to be some strong straight line winds here as this moves through. Probably on the leading edge of it, probably going to see winds anywhere from possibly 50 to 60 miles per hour. That is just now moving into Equality. It's moving through Omaha currently. It's moving through Carmi and Crossville, or getting ready to move through Crossville. I would say from New Haven southward to Shawneetown. Those are the areas that Ridgeway, Equality, Shawneetown. You guys are next in line, 50, 60 mile an hour winds. No warnings right now, though, for you guys in those areas. Further south, same thing in Hardin County. Jasmine, I see your comment there. We are likely going to see this line push through maybe over the next, it's just now moving into the northwest sections of the county here. Back to that. But at this point, I'm not too concerned there with the tornado threat in Hardin County. We'll have to keep an eye on this line, but I think that the leading edge of this is going to move through pretty quickly. So say in 20 minutes, I'm hoping it's out of here. But this line will move into Hardin County. Right now, no warnings in Hardin County. That tornado warning does just push up to the county line in Pope. We've actually seen that not quite as impressive to the south, but has lost a little bit of as it's been moving. Yes, Harrisburg, El Dorado, you guys are in the clear. North City, Enfield, McLeansboro, you guys are all in the clear as well. Look at this up to our north. They've got a bunch of severe thunderstorms and even tornado warnings up in places like Olney currently. I think we likely did have, I think it's really possible we may have had a brief tornado or two touchdown back when this was going across southeast Missouri and into southwest Illinois. Kind of the area that, to be honest, models hinted at is potentially having the best chance there. On this area just to the north of Brookport, real quick. Velocity scan's running behind here. Second to catch up. Yeah, that's some real strong straight line winds right behind this too. Picked up actually behind the main line there. Look at that. Leading edge of it coming out here on the front. Then right back here. Real strong winds. For you in Omaha there, kind of the worst of it going by you now. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning that does include Carmi over towards Crossville and areas there. So that line here still has some really strong straight line winds, and I just think that overall the tornado threat has gone down some, but that's kind of what we're seeing right now. Autumn asking about Carrier Mills. I think the worst of it is Bayou. Strong winds behind this line, it looks like. Just again, going back to velocity and kind of what we're seeing. The tornado warning actually runs for quite a bit more time. And that warning runs for another 30 minutes. I think that the leading edge of this is probably going to be through that box pretty quickly. But so here, yeah, I mean, that helps you out a little bit, and maybe Ridgeway and Shawneetown to kind of see your town there. Yeah, I think we're seeing kind of a weakening trend. One of the things that showed up the last couple of days and we weren't so sure about is that instability. We talked about that, how much buoyancy, how much the air can go up, how quickly it can go up. Kind of peaks over south. It peaked over southwest Illinois and kind of lost a little bit of its intensity further eastward. And I think that's what we're seeing right now. Is that as it's getting into more stabilized air, that we are seeing the storms overall lose a little strength. Got a question there from Rachel and Carmine. Rachel, there is a severe thunderstorm warning for you. The worst of it's actually going through Carmine now, or at least on the east side of town, and then we'll quickly push eastward and then shift into Indiana here shortly. E-Town and Rosiclare, storm still to your west. I would say the leading edge of this is probably going to be in Rosiclare, E-Town, probably in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Wouldn't be surprised to see a severe thunderstorm warning with this. I would right now expect, for the most part, though, probably 50 to 60 mile per hour winds are the biggest threat. Yep. So again, if you are just joining me, if you're kind of wondering about your community, maybe you missed it earlier. Harrisburg, El Dorado, Carmi. I would actually put you kind of in the clear now. McLeansboro, Dahlgren, Broughton, Benton, West Frankfort, Christopher, Ziegler, Cesar, Ina, Mount Vernon, Marion, Carterville, Heron, Carbondale, Anna, Vienna, Murfreesboro, all the way to Cairo, Mounds, Mound City, and then Pinckneyville, DuQuoin, Chester. All of these areas are in the clear from severe storm. Okay, this is going to be in and out of here pretty quickly. Next 30 minutes, we're done completely. Even some of our south and eastern counties. Yep, Beth, the leading edge of this is just now getting to you in Junction there, Beth. Ashley, yes, you guys are in the clear too. Harrisburg is good, Carla. Yep. Grayville, you guys are dealing with the worst part of it right now. Strong winds there in Grayville. But give it 5 to 10 minutes and it'll be past. Siren still going off in Metropolis. Thanks for the report there, Laura. Yeah, I think the worst of it is by you at this point in Metropolis. That tornado threat has ended for Metropolis, and I would say even ended for Brookport at this point. Strongest part of that storm is also hitting Golconda currently. It's going to cross over into Livingston County, Kentucky here very shortly, though. Tyler, Harrisburg, you're good. You're good. It's the worst of it's by you. Rosiclare, strong winds coming in, 50, 60 miles per hour. Hey, Ken, asking about the snow event. I don't know if I'd call it an event. We're going to likely see some flakes flying tomorrow at different times. Probably see some snow showers in the morning, maybe even a few more towards the midday hours. It'll be a cold, cold day, though, that's for sure. I don't anticipate much in the way of accumulation, though, Ken. I do think that we are likely going to see maybe a dusting on the grass in a few spots. But at this point, I'm not expecting anything on the roads or anything like that. I just don't think it's going to be too much. Ridgeway, give it about 5 minutes there. I think, Beth, I think just give it a few more minutes and it'll be the worst of it will be by you here in there in Ridgeway. Shawneetown, 10 minutes. Tyler, I think, yeah. Shawneetown, I'd say 10 minutes. Carmi, I think the worst of it is by you. Nope. Linda, there is no more. There is not another round coming through. You are done once this goes through. No, Michael, we do not have another wave coming. All right, so the tornado watch, in fact, has been canceled for. I'm gonna run through a list here. They did this just a couple minutes ago. So the tornado watch has been canceled for Alexander County, Franklin, Hamilton, Jackson, Jefferson, Johnson, Perry, Pulaski, Union, Wayne, and Williamson. The tornado watch has been canceled for you. So that's what I'm saying. All right. So there is not another round coming. Boy, I'll tell you, there is a huge temperature drop with this thing though, as it moves through. Okay, let me look at this. Show you guys this real quick. These are current temperatures. Okay. 52 in Cairo, 63 in Henderson, Kentucky. The last hour at 8 o'clock, it was still 63 in Harrisburg. Sparta, Illinois, 41 degrees. St. Louis, Missouri, 37. That is a temperature drop. All right. That is a big old temperature drop. So that's why we're dealing with the severe weather tonight, and that's why we're dealing with the strong storm. El Dorado's in the clear. North City is in the clear now, yes. Hopefully you guys were able to get warnings tonight. We have the Nickhausen weather app free for download. That's available on your phone and your whether it's a phone on Apple or an Android. You can also actually get it on iPads too and tablets. But one of the things I'm hoping to do is have this live stream so that when we're doing severe weather, I'm working on it in the future, that shows up right there on the app. So you don't have to go search for me on Facebook. You don't have to go find it on YouTube. Hoping that it gets right there on the app. Okay, that's the goal. All right, so the tornado warning also has been canceled early for Pope County, so no more tornado warnings for anyone in Southern Illinois. No one in Southern Illinois is under a tornado warning. Lexi, sorry here. Lexia, for equality, strongest part of the storm is actually Bayou. Real heavy rain, a bunch of lightning with that. That's moving through there now. And probably some gusty winds too still. But it's not severe. There's no warnings on that. Maybe some 50, 60 mile per hour winds. Alex in Golconda. Hey, how are you doing? The leading edge of that's through. I think here in about 5 minutes, you will be completely clear. Okay. So western sections of Hardin County now dealing with this. Garden of the Gods, Rim Rock, kind of those areas, if you're familiar with that. Carver's Ridge Road, you guys are going to be dealing with some really strong winds here coming here very shortly. We do still have a severe thunderstorm warning that does include Brookport, but the worst of this storm is past you. Bay City, and then up to Golconda right now is kind of the worst part of the storm, and that is crossing the Ohio River very quickly, and will continue moving eastward. Ridgeway, you guys are getting hammered right now with some real heavy rain, a lot of thunder, lightning, and some strong winds like we just went through the Shawneetown area or getting ready to move through the Shawneetown area. Susan, no, I would say Shawneetown's still got about 10 more minutes before you're completely in the clear. Yeah, Rudy, you're good to go in Ozark. Morgan, yes, in Omaha, you're good to go too. If there's any more reports, I haven't looked at those for a little while here. We haven't had a lot of reports, to be honest, which kind of surprises me. Switch this over here just a bit. I'm going to switch this over. So this is the power outage map here. I'm going to run through this real quick. Looks like maybe Pulaski County has quite a few out right now. Roughly about 1,700 customers. Looks like Franklin County still has nearly 800 customers out. Randolph County has almost 4,000. Jackson County has a few hundred, 400 or 500. Saline County, a couple hundred. Williamson County, only 54. So if I had to guess, we may have had a either strong wind gust with this storm here in Pulaski County and potentially a tornado. And I actually wouldn't be surprised entirely if we had something similar. Hamilton County has actually got 197 out too. So those are kind of the power outages we're seeing right now. Junior saying no power currently in Paducah as well. So thanks for the report. Duana, how are you? I hope you're doing all right. Yeah, the temperature behind this line really is dropping quick, that's for sure. Yep. I'm hoping here in 10 minutes or so that we can give the all clear for everybody in Southern Illinois. Pope County, I think I'm going to go ahead and give the all clear for you guys. Saline County, all clear. So right now, the only two areas that we're really continuing to still monitor are areas of Gallatin County and then Hardin County as well. And this storm is not severe. You're probably going to see some gusty winds on it, some heavy rain, some lightning, and then it's on through here. Okay, so at this point, I'm hoping that in the next 10 minutes that we can get out of here and be done. All right. Looking here, little section just to the northwest of Caven Rock. I'm kind of approaching the Route 1 area. Little bow right there. Probably going to end up with gusty winds, possibly maybe 50, 60 mile an hour winds. It would not surprise me. Elizabethtown, E-Town, Rosiclare, you guys are all dealing with the worst of it right now. Shawneetown, kind of the same thing. You guys are really dealing with the heaviest rain currently. New Haven, same thing. So kind of in that line, New Haven, Shawneetown, southward to E-Town and Rosiclare. That's kind of the main line right now. So this will be approaching Old Town, Gold Hill. Again, this storm is not severe, but it could have some pretty gusty winds, especially the area there in Hardin County. So Caven Rock and then northward on Route 1. I would say that there's going to be some gusty winds when that moves through. Trying to catch up on text messages from friends as they were going through the storms as well. And all those political texts too, gosh. Sure you guys deal with those as well. So again, 5-10 minutes, we're gonna get out of here. Everybody else all clear. Shawneetown to Caven Rock, you guys are still in Old Town to Caven Rock, I would really say. Dealing with the strongest storms still on radar elsewhere. There's some showers, some rain showers on the backside of this thing. Rain showers there on the backside. Those are rain showers. Just making sure that the temperature sets drop is so quick. Yeah, Kim. Yeah, about 400. That's right. From Ameren. Okay, and an Egyptian's got about another 800. Appreciate that. Your watch will be lifted, Victoria, if it's not already. They're going to cut. They like to do it in chunks. They're going to cut a bunch of counties out. They'll let the line get a little bit further, and then they'll cut a bunch more out. That's kind of how this works. So some areas that might still be in the watch, but give it a little while. Once this crosses over, we're completely done with this in Southern Illinois. Okay, guys. So E-Town, again, worst part of this, Shawneetown, I would say, honestly, the worst part is at Paiute. Old Shawneetown probably dealing with some of this right now. Leading edge of it. Haven Rock, you guys are getting ready to. Still a couple minutes away. Meantime, give me just a minute here. I'm going to kind of put together a graphic. All right, guys. So what I'm going to do here as we wrap this up is I am going to get up here in Cave and Rock. I know that you still got the storm to go through, but this storm is well below severe limits. So what I'm going to do is, yes, I am going to go ahead and give out an all clear for all of Southern Illinois. There is no more severe weather threat. The worst of it is by us. Get ready for a big cool down because that's what we're going to be dealing with here. But in the meantime, I'm going to sign off for tonight. Appreciate all of you guys joining me tonight and continue to kind of update this and fine tune this. It's a little different than being in a TV studio, I'll tell you that. So we continue to try to improve this and make this a little bit better and make it as high quality as we can. But appreciate all of you guys joining me tonight, and hopefully everybody was safe, and hopefully no one had really any damage. That's kind of the fingers crossed and the hopeful of everything. But in the meantime, get ready and bundle up on Monday and have